Even across galaxies, I can still hear the notes your legends left behind. Welcome back, Earthlings. Apparently your neurons survived part 1. In this video, the faces get tougher, the genres stretch wider, and the tributes run deeper. Each of these departed artists carved their name into your planet's soundtrack, some with thunderous fame, others with quiet brilliance. Identify them if you can, and do it with a little reverence. I may mock human intellect for sport, but even I can appreciate a melody that echoes across galaxies. Let's begin, and remember, legends never truly die. They just go into replay mode. Jim Morrison, 1943 to 1971. Otis Redding, 1941 to 1967. Bill Withers, 1938 to 2020. Amy Winehouse, 1983 to 2011. Nat King Cole, 1919 to 1965. Chester Bennington, 1976 to 2017. Little Richard, 1932 to 2020. Robbie Bachman, 1953 to 2023. Jimi Hendrix, 1942 to 1970. Guy Lombardo, 1902 to 1977. Aaron Carter, 1987 to 2022. Dee Ramone, 1951 to 2002. Stevie Ray Vaughan, 1954 to 1990. Jeff Buckley, 1966 to 1997. Joe Strummer, 1952 to 2002. Warren Zevon, 1947 to 2003. Sam Cooke, 1931 to 1964. Ronnie Van Zant, 1948 to 1977. George Harrison, 1943 to 2001. Dinah Washington, 1924 to 1963. Prince, 1958 to 2016. Janis Joplin, 1943 to 1970. Lou Reed, 1942 to 2013. John Bonham, 1948 to 1980. Duane Allman, 1946 to 1971. Eddie Van Halen, 1955 to 2020. Tammy Wynette, 1942 to 1998. Alan Collins, 1952 to 1990. Tony Bennett, 1926 to 2023. Scott Weiland, 1967 to 2015. Thelonious Monk, 1917 to 1982. Donna Summer, 1948 to 2012. Maurice Gibb, 1949 to 2003. Roy Orbison, 1936 to 1988. Ronnie Spector, 1943 to 2022. Howlin' Wolf, 1910 to 1976. Mike Starr, 1966 to 2011. Conway Twitty, 1933 to 1993. Tina Turner, 1939 to 2023. Charlie Watts, 1941 to 2021. James Brown, 1933 to 2006. Randy Rhoads, 1956 to 1982. Mama Cass Elliot, 1941 to 1974. Bing Crosby, 1903 to 1977. Sid Vicious, 1957 to 1979. Ian Tyson, 1933 to 2022. Gary Moore, 1952 to 2011. Karen Carpenter, 1950 to 1983. Peter Green, 1946 to 2020. Muddy Waters, 1915 to 1983. Peggy Lee, 1920 to 2002. Johnny Cash, 1932 to 2003. Heavy D, 1967 to 2011. Doug Bennett, 1951 to 2004. Carl Perkins, 1932 to 1998. Sarah Vaughan, 1924 to 1990. Glenn Gould, 1932 to 1982. Clarence Clemens, 1942 to 2011. Mac Miller, 1992 to 2018. Leonard Cohen, 1934 to 2016. Walter Becker, 1950 to 2017. Waylon Jennings, 1937 to 2002. Rita McNeil, 1944 to 2013. Bob Marley, 1945 to 1981. Miles Goodwin, 1948 to 2023. DMX, 1970 to 2021. Buddy Holly, 1936 to 1959. Oscar Peterson, 1925 to 2007. Bradley Noel, 1968 to 1996. Michael Hutchence, 1960 to 1997. Merle Haggard, 1937 to 2016. Paul Ace Frehley, 1951 to 2025. Ronnie Hawkins, 1935 to 2022. Dennis Wilson, 1944 to 1983. Biz Markie, 1964 to 2021. Luciano Pavarotti, 1935 to 2007. Ricky Wilson, 1953 to 1985. Cliff Burton, 1962 to 1986. Sinead O'Connor, 1966 to 2023. Ginger Baker, 1939 to 2019. Charlie Daniels, 1936 to 2020. Loretta Lynn, 1932 to 2022. Benjamin Orr, 1947 to 2000. Andy Fletcher, 1961 to 2022. Davy Jones, 1945 to 2012. Keith Emerson, 1944 to 2016. Ben E. King, 1938 to 2015. Fife Dog, 1970 to 2016. Gary Wright, 1943 to 2023. Ella Fitzgerald, 1917 to 1996. Dickie Betts, 1943 to 2024. Robert Palmer, 1949 to 2003. Ritchie Valens, 1941 to 1959. Steve Albini, 1962 to 2024. Bo Diddley, 1928 to 2008. Isaac Hayes, 1942 to 2008. Richard Manuel, 1943 to 1986. Toby Keith, 1961 to 2024. Natalie Cole, 1950 to 2015. Fats Domino, 1928 to 2017. John Mann, 1962 to 2019. Easy E, 1964 to 1995. Robert Miles, 1969 to 2017. Steve Harwell, 1967 to 2023. Andy Rourke, 1964 to 2023. Mark Lanigan, 1964 to 2022. Lester Young, 1909 to 1959. Rick James, 1948 to 2004. Johnny Ramone, 1948 to 2004. Syd Barrett, 1946 to 2006. Richard Wright, 1943 to 2008. Les Paul, 1914 to 2009. Captain Beefheart, 1941 to 2010. Peter Steele, 1962 to 2010. Jill Scott Heron, 1949 to 2011. Jeff Hanneman, 1964 to 2013. Joe Cocker, 1944 to 2014. Pete Seeger, 1919 to 2014. Malcolm Young, 1953 to 2017. Vinnie Paul, 1964 to 2018. John Prine, 1946 to 2020. Andy Gibb, 1958 to 1988. Rudolph Isley, 1939 to 2023. Stompin' Tom Connors, 1936 to 2013. Robert Goulet, 1928 to 2007. Skip Prokop, 1943 to 2017. Vic Damone, 1928 to 2018. Freddie Mercury, 1946 to 1991. That concludes our journey through the faces and frequencies of the departed. Over 100 brilliant minds, forever looping in the echoes of your species' better moments. Pay your respects below. Share your score, your memories, your favorite songs. I might mock humanity, but even I can admit, you've created some remarkable sounds. Like, subscribe, and return for the next challenge, where we celebrate the living, ridicule the clueless, and keep the spirit of sound alive, all here on BTV. Until next time, Earthlings, the sound may stop, but the echo never does. Their music will forever outlive the noise. Melvin has left the vortex. Go on, treat yourself and click another video. Or you can go back to watching cats fall off furniture.